Welcome to The Secrets of Success. By following the proven techniques of the guests who appear on this series, you'll learn that even successful people run into detours and failures, and how you can apply their success techniques to change your life.
You're now listening to the most unique show on radio, the show dedicated to making you a success. Argentina Leyva believes the pathway to success involves the art of seduction. Let's hear what she has to say. Argentina, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Bill. It's such a pleasure to be here, honestly.
Now, Argentina, you had a life-changing event at age 38, and that got you into your present business, etc. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, at 38, I was, going through some sort of midlife crisis, because I really felt that I was getting old, close to being 40. And the results in my life did not reflect what I used to dream as a little girl. I really thought that by the time I was 40, I was going to be, happily married, have a couple of kids, and have a successful career. And more than anything, that I was just going to be this just beautiful, mature woman. And I didn't have any of those. I was divorced, no children, and I always struggled with my body weight. So, by that time, I had already had a side business doing wedding photographer. During the day I was an engineer, and then the weekends I was doing weddings. And then the brides that I was photographing are the ones that introduced me to boudoir photography. And it came very natural to me. I was very good at it. They look absolutely beautiful. But I never thought that somebody like me could take those type of pictures. I thought it was for the young, skinny, beautiful brides. But a little bit after that, I started to get regular women coming to me to take these pictures, and I thought they looked absolutely beautiful. And when they saw how good they felt after the session, suddenly I wanted the same thing, because I didn't feel good about myself. I didn't think I was beautiful. So I, gathered my courage, and I put myself through my first boudoir session. And honestly, I was hoping to get one or two pictures just to show my clients, because I kind of had to set the example, right, that I could also do it. And it was so unexpected what I saw, Bill, because I really wasn't expecting to see a beautiful woman looking back at me in those pictures. I honestly thought it was a client. And when I finally realized that that was me, that was the first time that I honestly felt beautiful, and everything changed for me. I always thought that I was too fat, and now on top of that, I'm going to be old. And when I saw those pictures, none of that was true. I had been so disconnected from myself, and through those images, it really helped me see myself in a very different way as a beautiful, mature Latina woman in a size 14 with curves, and I loved it, and I decided to like it. It was my own choice. I redefined my own concept of beauty through that experience.
And now, years later, you've worked with over 3,000 women doing what you term simply boudoir photography. And for our audience, this is nothing. These are not nude photos or anything. It's just photos, I guess we would call it, to look seductive. Would that be a good term?
Yes, boudoir photography comes from the French word boudoir, which means the private chambers of a lady. And that's where the term was created, boudoir photography. And it's just a seductive photography. They're very sensual, very tastefully done, that really shows the femininity, of a woman. And yes, by now I photographed over 3,000 women. And here's what made me realize that this was my calling. Through so many years, decades of my life, really, even as a professional engineer, I still couldn't find significance in my life. A reason, something that I would get up every morning to be just thrilled, about what I did. And when I found those pictures, this type of photography, and through my own experience, it changed everything because I found something that I really I could help other women. And this is what happened. Very, very funny story. I had no idea really how significant this experience had on me, this impact, until about 8 months after my boudoir session. One day, I was going through my social media, and there was this troll in social media that was publicly body shaming me and calling me fat, telling me I needed to lose weight. I put my pictures up there. I was so proud of them, and I wanted to inspire other people. And he just started to tell me, Argentina, you're fat. You need to lose weight. You should be ashamed of doing this type of photography. You want to inspire women to feel more confident. And that's pretty mean to say. But instead of feeling angry and offended, it was the opposite. I actually replied to him, what do you mean I'm fat? I'm not fat. I'm delicious. I'm beautiful.
Good
and
answer.
That shocked me. Yeah, it shocked me because a year before, I couldn't take a compliment. And now there's somebody that really is trying to hurt me, and I don't believe a word of what he said. That's the moment that I realized that I was a different person because of that type of photography. And I realized women need to know this.
Now,
because we all suffer. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, when a woman uses this, comes to you for the photography, how do they typically use it, or how do you recommend they use this? Is this just for their own viewing? Do they send it to friends? Do they put it on Facebook? Is it private, public? What's your advice to them?
Well, a lot of women, there's so many reasons, but the women that come to me, most of the women that come to me are 40 and up. And at that point in their lives, they're doing it for themselves. When I get brides or very young, even women in their 30s, they're doing it for their husbands as a birthday present, wedding present, anniversary present. But the majority of the women that come to me, they do it for themselves because of the message that I put out there. We all dream, as women, to be models and to have this just beautiful perception of ourselves. We just don't talk about it. And when they run into me or they Google and find me, the message that they get is about empowering transformative power of boudoir photography. So they feel like, oh, you're right, I should do this for myself. So I have women that do it just because they want to celebrate their 50 and feel fabulous. I have women that they celebrate it because they survived cancer. I have women that they have ended up in a wheelchair after, having MS, and they just don't want to be, identified or defined by that wheelchair. Or the women that have been left by their husbands after 30 years for a younger woman, and they feel like wasted and dismissed. And all the women after having children, their body just, C-sections and surgeries, and their body is not the same. Or they lost a lot of weight after, weight loss surgery, and they have a lot of skin hanging. Or I have women that they have transformed their physique, and they're in really good shape, and they want to celebrate.
And good for them, right?
So there's all sorts, it's all sorts of reasons, but most of them, they keep it very private. Not everybody is ready to put themselves out there in the social media with those type of pictures. I personally put them out there because it's my business, but I do get, sometimes harassed about it. But it's just part of the business. Most women keep it as a private album in their house, portraits in their walls, digital pictures in their phones. Not many people really put themselves out there that openly because some of them can be very revealing. I mean, I do shots where, she's practically nude with just one sheet on top of her, very like Marilyn Monroe. So everybody's different. Some people have a higher pride that are like, hey, I'm 50 and fabulous, put them out there. And they will let me share one or two in my blog or in my galleries. So that's pretty much what they are. They're in social media, they're in my website. They don't necessarily put themselves.
At this point in the show, we just want to remind our listeners that if you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan, and our guest today is Argentina Leyva. She is the I guess what would we call it? The founder of Boudoir Photography and the Art of Seduction? How would we describe that?
Yes, the founder of Art of Seduction Boudoir Photography. I now have become more of a woman's coach that happens to do photography.
An added part to your life. But before we go ahead, tell our audience, if they're interested in learning more about this, or someone saying, oh, what a great idea, or I'd love to do this, I think it would make me feel good. Is there a website we can learn more?
Absolutely. I have two studios. One is in Chicago, and the other one is in Austin, Texas. And they can go to artofseductionchicago.com and contact me that way if they want to actually fly to Chicago or Austin to do a session. Or I also travel around the world. I make trips to Fiji, Bali, Cozumel, Riviera Maya, Paris, and I do photo shoots over there. So it's a great way for women to, it's kind of like
you can have a vacation and a photo shoot, right?
Exactly. So they have options, with me.
I think the men are going to get jealous. You better start thinking of setting up a men's division. That
I have a long list of men that are waiting to just
I knew it.
luggage around.
Now, do women, I saw in your publicity material, you say women have negative thoughts that they're not good enough. And I remember once sitting in a doctor's office and I hear two women talking, and these were young women, I would say 18 to 22. One say, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so tall. And oh, I'm tall, I'm gawky, I would rather be your size. And I looked up and they were both very attractive. And yet each one is focusing on the negative. Do women seem to do that more than men, or is there a reason for that?
Definitely women tend to do it more. I know that men do it as well, but it's not as much. But definitely women, we do definitely focus a lot in the negative things. We're so hard on ourselves because there is this expectation of women to be perfect. Since we're little girls, we get this message constantly from everywhere that our worthiness as women is based on our looks. Since we're little girls, oh, what a pretty girl. Oh, you're so pretty. Look at your hair. Oh, my God, you're so thin. And look at your smile. Look at your eyes. And God forbid, like in my case, when I was a little girl, nobody told me I was a pretty girl. They told me I was simpatica. I was cute, but never ever told me I was beautiful. And so since a very young age, I perceived that, okay, I'm not beautiful. That means that I'm not as good as the pretty girl. And the pretty girls are the ones that get everything in this life. So when we get all these messages, suddenly, since a very young age, we just start to mold ourselves to get acceptance and love and appreciation from others. In my case, I would punish my body with hard, exercises to the point that I hurt my back to be, a thin, a small size. And even at one point when I lost a lot of weight, it was still not good enough. My mother would still tell me imperfections about my body. So what's the point? Bring on the ice cream, And I really thought that because I wasn't pretty enough, I wasn't getting a good husband. So we get disconnected from ourselves to really truly understand who we are, because we get so focused on being loved and accepted by others. And we care so much about what other people think. And it takes one comment from one person to really crash a little girl's self-esteem and think that there's something wrong with her. And it takes a lifetime to recover. And it doesn't matter what people tell you. If people, your husband, your friends, they tell you, you're so beautiful, how can you not feel it? It doesn't count if you don't see it and if you don't feel it. So it's a woman's personal choice to say, enough. I am tired of trying to please everybody because it's never enough, and I'm getting older. I just want to feel good about myself. I want to feel attractive. I want to feel that, even if I don't lose weight or don't change anything about my body, I'm still good enough. I'm worthy of love and appreciation, and I'm deserving. So it is a personal choice at the end of the day.
Argentina,
the best photographer.
We hear the expression a lot, low self-esteem. And just for our audience, while it's a common expression, what does that mean? And I know you mentioned that there's a low self-esteem cycle. What would a person like myself see if, let's just say, a coworker, or let's say we're all in a school teaching, there's 50% of them men, 50% women. How would I see a woman teacher who has low self-esteem? What traits would she exhibit?
Well, you have to understand how the low self-esteem works. And interestingly enough, the low self-esteem cycle has exactly the same mechanism than the high self-esteem cycle. They work exactly the same way. The only difference is your self-talk. When a woman looks at herself in the mirror and says like, oh my God, I hate my body, I hate my thighs, I'm ugly, I'm not good enough, I'm stupid, I can never finish this, I'm never gonna get what I want. You believe that of yourself, that gets reflected into your exterior life. People obviously don't want to be around you. They fight with you. You have bad relationship with people. You fight with your kids, with your husband, with your sisters, with your coworkers, with your boss. You are just this negative person. And then it gets reflected in the results in your life.
So negativity will come out in the other things we do, I guess, in our body language and just our overall attitude. Is that it?
That's absolutely it. And when things that result in our lives are not what we want, then we feel even worse about ourselves. See, what's the point of trying? I'm still a loser. Now, the high self-esteem is the opposite. Even if you, as I said, fake it until you make it with positive self-talk, just to try it. I'm beautiful just as I am. I'm good enough. I deserve everything. I can figure out, I can do this. I have the same brain that every single human. And people start to see that. You start to have better relationships first with yourself, then with other people. You start to tolerate people more, understand them that that's just how they are. It's nothing against you. And that eventually, might get you the promotion. And suddenly you make more money. And now you're feeling good. It's like, you know what? I don't need that chocolate. I'm just going to have an apple because I'm feeling so good. I don't need this food to make me feel good.
Argentina,
and then your confidence feels better.
We had someone on the show who said if a woman looks at, for instance, a beauty magazine, she'll see someone looking very beautiful or in a bathing suit and say, oh, I could never look that good, or my elbows are too rough, or my thighs are too thick, or, she'll find some imperfection. Whereas a man, if he sees, for instance, a male athlete in the same type of situation, he'll do 5 push-ups and go, yeah, look at those biceps. I look just like Tom Brady, or, yeah, I can tell from you laughing. But while it makes us laugh, is that really true that the women, I guess, tend to see the negative quicker than the men would?
Absolutely, because we're more conditioned for it, and it's everywhere. Most of the marketing out there, it's for women. I don't know the statistics, but I wouldn't be surprised that it's at least 60-70% of all the marketing out there is guided, steered towards women. So we are invaded by it. So it's not our fault. Something that is very important for women is the way we feel is not our fault. It is the beliefs that we have about ourselves are neither true nor real. They are beliefs that have been put in our heads by the media, society, school teachers, classmates, TV advertisement, even parents and siblings. My sister, every time she wanted to hurt me, she would call me fat, when we were like fighting as little girls. So it's not our fault. So we have to learn first to forgive ourselves, because what is the other choice? We only have 2 choices in this world, in this life. We can be miserable the rest of our lives, completely depressed, hoping for an alternate reality, or we can learn to love ourselves and our bodies. Because at the end of the day, our body is the only thing that we truly own in this earth.
Our show, The Secrets of Success, has been on over 30 years, and we hear so many of our guests saying that in one form or another. It's our choice. It's our attitude. We can live the life we want. I mean, it may not be perfect, but we can improve it greatly. But we have to realize it's a choice we make. And if we kind of dwell on the negative, unfortunately, that's what we're going to be stuck with. Argentina, before we learn more about boudoir photography, I'd like to let our audience know, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan. Our guest today is Argentina Leyva, and she is a boudoir photographer who helps women understand the art of seduction. And you're hearing about her business on the show. But Argentina, if someone wants to know more about what you do or see some of your pictures, can you give us that website?
Absolutely. You can go to my website. It's artofseductionchicago.com. You can also find me in Instagram as Art of Seduction Boudoir and in Facebook as Art of Seduction as well.
And we'll ask you one more time before the end of the show, so if someone's listening, or perhaps if a husband wants to do something nice for his wife and treat her to a session, this is the opportunity. By the way, what can men do without stepping over any of the boundaries or the lines that we hear so much today? But with a coworker, is it proper to kind of say nice things to them? We almost get scared today that if you say, "Oh, you look nice,"
right,
that we're stepping on a boundary. What do you recommend that a male coworker does to help the female coworker just feel better about themselves?
Absolutely. Well, you can just, obviously share one of my posts to her Facebook page or something like that. But my message is actually for partners, for husbands, boyfriends, partners. If you think like, oh my God, my wife is so beautiful, she just doesn't see it. She really needs to see how beautiful she is. She needs to do one of this. You need to ease her into it. Because imagine that one day I show up to your door, Bill, and I tell you, Bill, I just bought you a package to go skydiving, and you hate skydiving and heights. I mean, you never even consider it.
I'm running the other way.
It's like, yeah, exactly. So this is such an experience that is out of every woman's comfort zone. Nobody comes to my studio overflowing with confidence. It's out of everybody's comfort zone. So you can't just tell your wife, hey, I bought you a boudoir fashion with Argentina, because she's like, wait a minute, I'm not ready. You have to emotionally be ready for it, have a conversation with me and be convinced that, oh, yeah, I totally see the point, what is going to happen, number one. Number two, don't question her about how much she's going to spend or why she's going to do it. This is the realm of women. We don't need to be understood. It just needs to be accepted that we need to feel beautiful, period. So please hand over your credit card and don't question how much you spend.
There you go.
Because when you say like $3,000 for pictures, honey, you don't need I don't need those pictures. You're beautiful. What you are telling her, you are not worth $3,000 to me. That's what we hear when our husband, boyfriend, partner doesn't want to pay for something that we want or give us or question what we spend, our own money. What do you mean you spent $5,000 in pictures? That's ridiculous. I can take them for you.
It sounds like this makes a woman feel a lot better than a bracelet, a necklace, a nice dinner, and
yes,
it can have a lot of long-range effects. And, in fact, one of my next questions to you, do you find that after the women have this session with you, do they become more conscious about their clothes, their appearance, their attitude, life habits, whether that means going to the gym or maybe just going for a walk and saying, look at me, I'm proud of myself. I'm out there, just enjoying nature. Does it have a definable change in their lives?
Absolutely. I mean, the day of your session, you just feel so much better because right there it's so intense. Hair, makeup, shooting, and you look at these pictures and you're having a hard time picking them, and you just, right there, instant gratification, and you leave the studio feeling absolutely amazing. And then life takes over. It's no different that you take your car to the car wash to get waxed and detailed, and it's like, oh my God, my car is so beautiful, and you take a picture of your car because it's so clean, and then you start driving in the snow in the north, and then 2 days later is the same thing, So life takes over. So that's why I love photography, because you have a physical proof of your beauty that you can look at every day. It's impossible for us to look like that every single day. Not even celebrities do that.
But it is fun to look at those pictures no matter what, whether we're an athlete for the men or for the women. And really, your pictures are beautiful. I've seen a book of them, and I think everybody will be impressed. Just even before we get to talk, or hopefully many of our listeners will be able to take part in this with you, but what are some of the things women can do to feel more confident in and of themselves?
Well, the first thing, number one thing, is make a decision that you're going to do something about really falling in love with yourself. And you can do things like writing a diary to yourself, full of gratitude and love. You don't look your physical appearance for whatever reason. Maybe go and get a hairstyle that is more becoming. Cover your gray hair that really bothers you, makes you like you are feeling, looking old. Learn to do your makeup. That's when I really want to look and feel like $1 million. I put myself together, go to Instagram and Pinterest and use ideas to use my wardrobe to create a beautiful style. I took classes to professionally do my makeup, with all this, my makeup artist is like, okay, teach me how to do this. And have a gray haircut that I really love, So those are the quickest things that any woman can do to feel good about herself. Obviously, working out, stop smoking cigarettes, because the moment that you stop smoking, your face clears out and you rejuvenate. Not stress out, which is easy to say, but how the hell do you do it, right?
Exactly.
So yoga, walks in the park.
And tell us,
it's a,
before we wrap up, I don't mean to cut you off, but tell us about, you have a new program, Bolder Beyond 50. What is that about?
Yes, I love Bolder Beyond 50. This is a series of stories that I'm writing about women that are in their 50s, that are in a place in their lives in which they're just kicking ass. How the hell did they do it? How they arrive in their 50s and they're just loving who they've become. How do you do it? I want to write your story with some beautiful pictures that we're going to be taking in Fiji and Bali. Actually, I'm heading to Bali in 3-4 weeks for the first photo shoot, and so that they can give us their pearls of wisdom and advice to younger generations and older women that are feeling lost, that I'm not where I thought I would be by the time I'm 40. Well, you know what? You have 10 years, so when you get to 50, you're exactly where you want to be.
Argentina,
that's Bolder Beyond 50.
Argentina Leyva, we want to thank you for being with us, telling us about the art of seduction and boudoir photography. Before we wrap up, give us that website again very slowly so people can go take a look at it and give you a call. Where should we look?
Absolutely. I have 2 studios. One is in Chicago and the other one is in Austin, Texas. And you can contact me through my website. It's artofseductionchicago.com, or through Instagram, Art of Seduction Boudoir, and Facebook, same thing, Art of Seduction Boudoir.
Argentina, thanks so much for being with us today. We'd like to remind our audience that you've been listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan, asking you to please join us again next week at this same time when we will continue our journey to success.